Good afternoon. Welcome to my channel. My name is Shannon Bellum and this is Whiskey and Wool. I am Whiskey and Wool on Ravelry as well as on Instagram. I have 2 extra O's in the word wool for Instagram because I think someone else has Whiskey and Wool there, obviously. Well, welcome. I'm going to talk to you about my knitting and my spinning. That's primarily what this channel is about. Sometimes I talk about sewing. I haven't been sewing in a long while. But today it's going to be all about knitting, and it's not quite the first, it's not quite autumn equinox. It's not quite the first day of autumn. That's a couple days away. It's the tail end of summer, and we are having the most beautiful day here in northern New Jersey where I live and work and do most of my crafting. Yeah, it is in the 80s, or I shouldn't say in the 80s, maybe it is going to be in the 80s. I think right now it's right around upper 70s, maybe 80, but beautiful. And the light is streaming into my room in a gorgeous way, and I just thought, this is all natural light, so I think it'll hold throughout the whole entire recording. So yeah. So welcome new viewers and welcome returning viewers. Thank you so much for taking part of your day and spending it here with me. I hope you can settle in with a nice project and a beverage of your choice. And I'm going to get right to it. I have a finished object. I've already worn it several times. This is the Ranunculus sweater. I'm going to put a full picture of me wearing this for when I dressed it up to go to work. Yeah, it is made out of my own hand spun. I have, it took about 500 yards. This hand spun that I made is made out of KimDyesYarn Pencil Roving fiber. I don't think it's a regular in her shop. I think it was a bit of a one-off or perhaps even a mistake when she dyed it. The colorway could be a normal colorway. I'm not really sure. It's called Sunday Brunch, but I talked all about the spin process of spinning this yarn in previous episodes, which I will, I'll link my project. So all my project pages, I try to remember to go back and write the episodes where I talk about those projects. You'll be able to find my spinning project page. If you want to know more about my process of spinning, you can watch it on my previous episodes. The yarn ended up being a 4-ply. I had spun it quite fine in single ply, so 2-ply wasn't going to cut it. It was going to be smaller, thinner, a lace weight really. So a 4-ply made it a heavy fingering weight / sport weight, and it was actually the perfect gauge for the Ranunculus pattern. I'll put a picture in too, I probably already have, of the Ranunculus sweater pattern cover, so you know the sweater that I'm talking about. But it's knit on very large needles. It's knit on size 10 needles, even though it's a fingering weight or heavy fingering weight yarn. I think the original pattern is meant to be knit with a strand of mohair and a strand of fingering weight together. I think that's the way it is, the way it's written. But nevertheless, it's knit on size 10, US size 10 needles, which I think are like 6mm. I'll put it on screen if I'm wrong. And you end up with this very loose, very fast knit. I work with a woman who is a fairly new knitter. We talk about knitting once in a while, and I when I wore the sweater, I told her it would be something that would be perfect for her as a fairly new knitter. She's knit sweaters, but not a lot of them, maybe 3. And I thought she would very much enjoy it because it is a fast project. I opted to not do the sleeves. You can do the sleeves or not. One of the things I didn't like was that you went straight from, if you chose not to do the sleeves, you just did a bind off here, and I wished I'd kept those stitches live so I could have done like a little mini, like maybe a 1/2 inch 1x1 trim. I think that would have made it look a little more finished. Though this isn't bad. It's fine for summertime. It's nice and loose around the armhole, which makes it, a cooler knit. The pattern is by Midori Hirose. I believe she's Japanese, and yeah, it's been out a couple years. It's been out since 2017. But wow, what a wonderful knit. I did it as a little knit along. My knit along is still going until the end of October, which now in hindsight I was like, should have made it just a month. It started September 1. I finished the sweater a little over a week ago. I probably under 3 weeks and maybe about 2 weeks or 10 days. A couple of the knitters that knit along with me, I believe everybody's done. I haven't seen all the finished objects, but the person who inspired me to do a little knit along, or asked to do a knit along with me when I was planning to cast this on, she's done. She actually finished ahead of me, which is fine, totally fine. Yeah, so anyway, very, very fun knit, very easy, like the little textured stitches here. The designer takes you through step by step. I think the entire yoke, it's top down, and the entire yoke is only about 30 rows. So you get through those yoke stitches pretty quickly, and then it's just mindless stockinette and the round stitching. I also did the smaller neckline. There's a big neckline and a small neckline, and when I first did it, it's a provisional cast on. It's tubular cast on, but with a provisional stitch, which I had never done. I've done provisional cast-ons, but not quite like that. When you pull the strand out, of crochet stitches out, you're done. That's it. There's no picking up or anything. You just end up with this nice little fold over 1x1 trim. It also looked very tight. I ended up using worsted weight yarn and a very big crochet hook for my provisional, because when I did it with fingering weight, it looked very, very, very small. Like I was thinking, how am I ever going to get that over my neck? But it does grow a lot it does relax in the soak. So I ended up with even a bigger neck. Like when I first had this, I thought it was going to be like a crew neck almost, but in the soak and blocking, it really grew. I think hand spun yarn, at least I've made, like I'm an expert now because I've made 2 whole sweaters out of hand spun. But my hand spun yarn has grown in both cases with the sweaters that I'm making. I'm going to talk to you about a third hand spun sweater that I'm planning to do later in the episode. But yeah, this is my finished object for this episode. I have made very nice project. Oh, Martha is here wearing nothing right now because I wanted to talk to you about my next project, one of my whips, and then I'm going to put it on her, and I'll just cut to her wearing it instead of you watching me put it on her. Anyway, I am still plugging away on one of my Rhinebeck sweaters. My last episode, I showed you my Chauncey sweater by Isabel Kramer that I finished. So that is what I'm going to wear on Saturday throughout most of the day. I did it for the Glorious Gold Along with Dundernit, or she's the hostess of the Knitting Vicariously podcast. If you watch that, she reached 10,000 viewers in 1 year. I'm super impressed. I mean, she's very entertaining, so I understand, and she's also very outspoken about social justice issues, which I completely align with and appreciate. So I'm so happy for her. Like that, it's wonderful. I'm really looking forward to meeting her at Rhinebeck. She's planning to go. And if you haven't been to Rhinebeck and you're planning to go, or if you haven't been and you just have no idea what I'm talking about, it's also the New York Sheep and Wool. It's one of the biggest outdoor festivals in the nation, as far as I know. It's for a lot of knitters and woolly fiber people. It is like Mecca, I guess, in a way. It's held in the autumn, so it's held in October, towards the end of October, not quite Halloween weekend, but a weekend or 2 ahead of that. And it's really a lot of fun. It's just, yeah, it's country fair / lots of fiberish content. So with the animals there and animal shows, and it's also wool vendors, yarn vendors. There's a lot of events, satellite events, I guess I would call, that aren't affiliated with Rhinebeck, but happen the same weekend because of Rhinebeck. So there's some there's 3 different events that happen on Friday ahead of Rhinebeck, and then there's some that happen in the evenings that are not affiliated with New York Sheep and Wool, but related to for sure, for all different people of all different walks of life. So yeah, it's a fun weekend. This year I'm going for Friday and Saturday. I am coming home. I won't be there Sunday. Sometimes I spend Sunday there. This year I'm flying out to Europe on Monday after Rhinebeck. So I'm going to get home. I'm going to come home Saturday night, get up Sunday morning, record an episode about Rhinebeck and about my time there, and then edit it and leave for 2 weeks the next day for Italy. We're going to Italy, me and some family members. Yeah. So anyway, it turns out I have 3 sweaters to wear for 3 different events on the Saturday of Rhinebeck. I actually have a potential 4th on my lap, my work in progress, and I don't really have anything specific to wear for Friday, though I'm going to see how the weather is. The weather can be a little mild. It's not always sweater weather. It's usually sweater weather, but it's not usually like bundle up, wear a coat, boots, gloves, hat weather. Sometimes it can be that cold, but usually it's pretty mildish, like in the 50s or so during the day. It might be chilly in the morning, but you're dressing in layers and stripping down kind of thing. So I may wear this on Friday. I'm going to just see how it is for the Friday. Yeah. Anyway, getting way ahead of myself because I still have another month, so I'll definitely be recording at least one more time ahead of going. So in that episode, I'll detail more about what my plans are and what I'm looking forward most to, and things along that line. Okay. Here's my whip. This is the Throwback sweater by Andrea Mowry, and I have I've cast off the body, and I'm now working on the sleeve. So I've got a couple inches done on one sleeve. I'm using for the sleeve, I was watching another podcast, and there was a lot of chatter about how to knit a sleeve and that person's like what needles you use to knit a sleeve. I use these. These are Addy Flippy Flips, they're called. So it's a set of 3 needles that you end up putting your sleeve stitches on 2 needles, and then with the 3rd needle you knit around. The tips are one side is pointy and one side is dull. I think you can see that, right? Yeah, so this upper one is pointier than the bottom one. So you can decide what, depending on the yarn you're knitting, which side works better for you. So I usually start my sleeve when it's on the on waste yarn. I start my sleeve with a 16-inch needle, and then when it starts getting like the stitches get stretched out too much, and I'm spending like every stitch moving stitches together, I'll move them over onto the flippy flips, and then I'll use these all the way down for the rest of it. And I have flippy flips in the rib knit size, needle size 2, so I'll do the rib knit in the flippy flips. I like them a lot. They, like you can see, I'm really pushing its ability to hold the stitches in this part of the sleeve, but in a couple more decreases it'll be fine. But they can be as few as 5 or 6 on each needle and still work beautifully. They're a little bit more like, because you can see you can do, I don't want to lose stitches, but you can like do this with it. So it's a little bit more, they're like flexible double pointed needles. So I prefer this over magic loop because I don't like fiddling with the cord every single round like you have to. You actually have to fiddle with the cord, I think, twice every single round. Oops, I almost dropped my knitting into my drink. I need like a little side table. Toot. Okay, so that is how I knit those sleeves, and I think I'll finish this by the end of the month. I think so. I think I'll finish it by the end of September. What's today? Today's the 21st. I have like 9 more days. I'll get very close. I'm not sure how long it's going to take me to do the collar and the front plackets. Oh, I will be steeking this. This is a cardigan. So I've done I've never steeked before, so I'll let you all know how it goes. Oh, and I'm doing this if it all goes well and I get up that morning. I'm not a morning person, and doing a steek and streak with Kristy Glass will require me to be in line at Rhinebeck, I think around 8 o'clock in the morning. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to make it, Kristy. I'm going to try. But that's what I'm making this for. So it's supposed to be, if I make it, I will be steeking, doing the cut on camera. And it'll be part of her video, her Rhinebeck sweater video, because that's how she's doing Rhinebeck sweaters this year. Instead of doing, the thing that she's done the last few years where she's done, tell me about your Rhinebeck sweater. So I am so loving the pop of color that I'm getting from the Spincycle Yarns. Let me get it up close for you. I just love it. I love the way it looks. Like, I know picking colors for colorwork sweaters can be really sort of a nerve-wracking experience for a lot of people, and it is for me too. I also kind of go through this whole like sort of nail biting, like, did I pick the right colors? And I wasn't convinced, even though I made a swatch, I wasn't convinced. I just figured, let me knit it. I can always rip back. But I love it. The more I work with it, the more I'm working on the sweater, and the more that I'm looking at it, and my friends are seeing it, my non-knitting friends are seeing it. They are really, really loving it too. So I'm really looking forward to wearing this. I'm knitting it out of... So I had said Spincycle on the top, which I'll go through that first. Let me tell you about the main color. The main color is Tuka Wool. It's 100% Finnish wool, fingering weight. I bought it at EYF earlier this year in March, in Ysolda's booth. And the color is called, I'm not really sure if I'm going to pronounce it right, but it's called Ujo. U-J-O. Yeah. This is my 4th skein. I bought 7. Yeah, I bought 7. So I do have to do the plackets and the collar, as well as 2 sleeves. I might use 6. I'm not sure. Maybe 5 in a portion. I do not think I'll be using all 7. But I do really love it. Like, a couple episodes back, if you're a returning viewer, you're going to remember me saying, like, I'm not sure about this color. I know that I liked it when I was looking at all the color choices when I bought it. I remembered being intentionally picking it, not doing it on a whim. But now I'm really loving it. Maybe it's just the time of year. Maybe it's just more, because it's not really pink, it's not really purple, therefore it's mauve. One of those. It has this beautiful, like, black flecks in it, which there you can see. These black heather sections of it that are just really, really, really pretty. I just love it. And I have it in my mauve knitting bag from the Fat Squirrel. And I just got a mauve, unintentional mauve phone case. I thought it was, they called it rose gold. I guess it's rose gold. Is this rose gold too? Well then, is this rose gold? I don't know. They're all just marketing things, right? That rose gold, yada yada, blah blah blah. Yeah, I guess it's kind of a fine line between rose gold and mauve. Okay, let me tell you about the yarns that I used in here. These are all Spincycle yarns. The first 2, this yellow to orange, or orange, burnt orangey rust, and this second one, the blue to turquoise. Those 2 are the same color. They're Truthbomb, and I don't have the little drabs of skeins over here. I talked about it in my last episode. I showed you them and stuff. Two different skeins of Truthbomb, but nevertheless, I probably could have used just 1 skein and just pulled out, like, made a little mini ball of the sections of colors that I wanted to use. And I probably could have done it for the 3rd color too, but I didn't know. I didn't know how much yarn I needed. The 3rd color is called Ruination, and it's a purple to blue color blend of Spincycle. It's really pretty. It looks, I wanted one color that was complementary to the mauve, and then I wanted the other two colors to be contrasting or on the triad, right? So like in a triangular. So I end up with if you look at a color wheel, I would have like purple, green, and yellow make a triangle shape. So they're tertiary colors to each other. So yeah, that's what I was looking for the colors. That's one of the ways you can pick color blends when you're doing a multicolored colorwork sweater. I've actually been thinking a lot about teaching classes on picking colors, and I have a proposal prepared for a couple different festivals, and yeah, I'll keep you posted if I end up submitting and who I submit to. Well, I probably won't tell you who I submit to exactly unless they take me. Then I'll tell you. Or if I just get, whatever, like this is never going to happen. Let me just spill the beans on who I called. Oh, I said I would put this on my form, so I'm going to do that now. I'll be fast forwarding through that. Okay, there you go. That's what it looks like. So I think I know in the blocking, this U shape will disappear. And also that's the steeking line. I made a purl row so I could easily steek. There'd be an easy cutting line to follow. But in the blocking, this sweater will grow, so because all of this color work will relax a bit, so it should all ease down. And then also this weird flare that you're seeing on the sleeves. I don't think it's on the other one. She's kind of off camera. Yeah, it's a little bit. So in the pattern, in Andrea Mowry's pattern, she has you do rapid increases. So within the pattern, so that's why it's kind of wavy. So that waviness will, I don't even know if you see that waviness on camera. That waviness will relax, and there should be a lot more ease. It should drop down a bit. I think I'm going to get about an inch of growth once it's blocked. But nevertheless, I think it's great for a cardigan. It's a good length for a cardigan. And these will open up, these 4x4 ribs at the bottom of the sweater. I love it. Can't wait to get it done. Super excited about it. Yeah. There we go. Also, the yarn will bloom in the blocking too. It's a little, if it looks a little thin. Oh, I didn't tell you. The pattern's written for worsted weight, and I did fingering. That's another mod that I did. I am knitting a size 6 to get a size 3. And I actually think, like, now that I'm able to put it on the form, I think I am really getting more of a 4. Like, I don't really think it's a size 3 necessarily. It's got a lot of ease in it, so on both sides. It was shocking, actually, when I first got it on the form, because I figured I would get some growth in blocking, and I'm really going to have, well, it's a cardigan, so of course, like extra positive ease in a cardigan is nice to have, so you can layer it over heavier weight sweaters, or not heavier than it, of course, but you can you get what I'm saying, right? All right. Yes, I love it. It looks so good. It looks so good. Okay, I have 2 more whips. I have a new cast on, but before I get there, I'm gonna talk to you about this next whip. This is also coming along beautifully. I'm so thrilled with it. This is a sweater of my own design. This is going to be a layering piece. It'll have sleeves. It's a long sleeve layering piece. That's the way that I think of it. I am knitting it out of Qing Fibre. It's a yarn. She says that it's 100% merino. I don't know whether it's superwash or not. The colorway is called Panda. I know she still makes this colorway. I've seen it on her website, and I've seen it with other vendors that sell her yarn. But I don't think she sells this base anymore. I think what I ended up buying, I got this yarn about 2 years ago, and I think what I ended up buying was yarn that was from a base that she was discontinuing, or maybe one that she accidentally bought some. I'm not really sure, but I have not seen it since. She calls it fingering, but it looks like a sport weight and it knits like a sport weight. So in terms of its gauge and stuff, it knits like a sport weight. This is the same exact pattern, but the swatch has been blocked, so you can really see what happens. It's not quite as closed as this is registering. The sweater is currently about 5 inches shorter than I intend it to be, so I've got another 5 inches to knit of the bottom. Then I'll go back and do the sleeves. This opening here will be a button placket, so I'm going to be putting in a rib placket here, and then there will be a rib, like a short rib, 1 inch rib knit collar around the top, as well as long sleeves, as I said. So yeah, this is a design that I've made from out of a layering piece that I have been buying from J. Crew for the last several years. It's just a simple, the J. Crew one is a simple 2x2 rib machine knit, of course, layering piece that I affectionately call my uniform. It's the thing that I grab and pull on when I don't want to think about what to wear to work. So I'll just pull on some jeans, boots, one of those pieces, or maybe skirt and boots and one of those pieces, and just be done. But they're wearing out and I need to replace them, so I thought it would be fun to knit a few of them. So I have 3 of these layering pieces planned. This stitch is not a 2x2. It is what is known as mistake rib in some stitch dictionaries. And what it does is it's a 2x2, but you're knitting one knit stitch always, and you're purling one purl stitch always, but the other 2 are alternating between knit and purl. So it's a pretty nice textured stitch that still gives you the benefit of a lot of ease. So on the body, it looks like negative ease, but there's actually a lot more ease in there. I think. I don't know. This is my first one. So, and I'm not gonna rush. Not gonna rush to publish this pattern, because I think if anything, I'll publish it towards the end, maybe in the middle or towards the end of making my second one. I'm planning 3 different variations, so I want to put the pattern together as with all 3 variations, so that people can kind of pick and choose what they want to do. The other thing that I want to work on design-wise, pattern-wise, is making my patterns more inclusive. I've had a couple people reach out to me and ask me about that. I am intending to do that, and that takes time, so I'll probably do that way before I publish this pattern. I'm just mostly interested in getting these garments done for myself so I can wear them this fall and winter. But yeah, super excited about that. I think I said, I'm going to crinkle a little bit, apologies. I think I said this before, but I have yet to show you. I am intending to do some a couple rows of tipping around on the placket, and then also on the collar and on the bottom and on the cuff. So I'm playing with the idea of doing this yellow, which I think would look great with this color. And I have a couple shades of green, so I may do like a couple rows of yellow and maybe a row of green, something like that. I have this green too, so I don't think I'll do 3, but it'll be either the dark green or the light green. I'm leaning towards the light green just because it's such a dark sweater. I don't know. I love the idea of just the yellow, so I may just do the yellow because it's so pretty. But I do have these as well. These little minis. These were that trio were part of a 5 or 6 piece set that I bought from Little Gray Sheep a couple years ago, and I used them to make my EYF sweater, which is back a few. I'll link it if I remember. If not, you can find it. It's a green sweater. You'll find it in my project pages on Ravelry. Yeah, so this is my other whip. What happened was I went away last weekend. I took both of these And I got to the rib on this one and I forgot to bring the smaller needle. So I'm glad I brought a second whip. So I was able to really knit a lot of the body while I was away last weekend. So it was really great. But I think this week I'm probably going to concentrate on the sleeves on this just to get this off the needles. And then I'll probably go back to working on this. Because this is pretty mindless. It's just, 2 by 2 rib. You just have to pay attention when the stitch changes on the row. So not too bad. Not too bad. Okay. What else do I have? Okay. I have a new cast on. How are we doing on time? Not bad. Try to stay under an hour. All right. I talked about this last week, and or not last week, in my last episode, and I was toying with different patterns to do, but I chose this one. Isn't it beautiful? I realized that I could actually show this or knit this for the Glorious Gold Along. Like this could be a second gold sweater that I'm doing for Rhinebeck, but I don't know if I'll get it. I'll probably have it done by Rhinebeck, so this could be my Friday sweater, because I don't think it's going to take me that long, but because Rhinebeck is still 4 weeks away. Who knows, though? I might get pretty close to finishing it. But it's yet another Spincycle yarn that I'm using. This is my second Spincycle yoke. No, third, because so this will be my fourth one. I did the, with their Dream State, which is their worsted weight, I did the Junko Okamoto sweater Papa, which I haven't worn yet. Oh, that's one of my 4 sweaters for Rhinebeck. A group reached out to me and asked me if I would come with that sweater and pose in a picture with them. They want to celebrate Junko, which I think is awesome. So I'm going to bring that. And then my Chauncey sweater has all 100% Truthbomb, the rainbow colorway that Spincycle has. That was my second one. This is my third one with the 3 colors. So my fourth Spincycle yarn sweater. So, and it's funny that all 4 of them are going to Rhinebeck with me. Okay, so I was obsessing about this color combo, and I've thought a lot about it over the past month or so, and I just needed to figure out a pattern. So I think my last episode I threw out a few different patterns that I was thinking I might knit, and I settled on, I wanted one that would do like a lot of fine lines of the blue without being like big blobs of color. Like I wanted it to be like thin lines through it. So I settled on the Tensho pattern by, hold on, I'll show you, by Beatrice Dahlen. So she calls it the Tensho Pullover parenthesis artist. So I'm not really sure. I think Tensho might be an artist's name. But see how it's just like sort of this geometric pattern, like a lot of like very thin lines. I thought that would look really awesome in the Spincycle yarn. So I'm about just past that first row of circles right there. So I'm probably right about here. Maybe I'm down to that line right there in the pattern. This is written for worsted, so I'm doing yet another. It's written for worsted, and I'm knitting it in fingering weight. And I've talked about this before, that though I love knitting fingering weight and DK weight sweaters, I wear fingering weight more. So fingering weight take a little longer, which is not a bad thing for me. It's fine. I just am not making as many sweaters as I would if I were knitting in heavier weight yarn. So I will do fingering weight. I will also do DK weight, but worsted I have 1 or 2, but I don't really they don't get a lot of love. The fingering weight are by far the ones that I wear the most. So fingering, I guess sport weight would be in there as well. Fingering weight and sport weight. So when I saw that it was worsted weight, since it worked out so well here, where I just knit a bigger size, I'm doing the same thing on this one. So I'm knitting a size, hang on, there's a whole lot of pictures. I'm knitting, well, let's see, 1, 2, which one am I doing? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm knitting the 5th size to get the 4th size. Is that right? Maybe I'm knitting the 6th size to get the 4th size. Similar to this, I guess. Her sizes are not numbered. They're just by chest measurement. So, yeah. By now I know my I know the size, the number of stitches that I need on the needle for a fingering weight sweater to be my size. So I kind of just matched whatever the stitches, like once you're in the chest measurement, like I just matched the stitches to the stitch count that I know works for me to the size and went from there. The other thing that I'm doing, this sweater, this pattern is written bottom up, which I was just like, okay. I know, just like this one, my yoke stitches, this part here, when I'm knitting this part here, it looks like it's going almost down to the armpit, but when I'm doing fingering weight, since my row count is shorter, it's not going to be that long. So it was super important that because I switched weights that I do top down. So I'm knitting in reverse. So I'm doing top down, reversing where it says decreasing, I'm increasing, and just making sure that I get the stitch counts that I need. And so far it's working. What I have realized that in the chart where there's a row of decreases, I'm doing the row of increases underneath that, in the row that's just beneath that, instead of in that same row, because that's the way it works. Like that's the way the pattern is working out. So, and this Spincycle yarn that I'm using, it's called Tangled Up in Blue. So it's a color, not common, but it's a color that is in their regular repertoire. And it's just beautiful. I love the cascading shades of blue. I just think it's going to be so, so, so pretty. I haven't told you about the base yarn. My base yarn is from Uschitita. It is the color Squirrel Kids, which debuted at EYF. It's this beautiful rusty brown, like really very autumnal. And you can see there's a little bit of shimmer in there. It's bronze stellina was what she called it. It's so pretty. This is just such gorgeous yarn. I'm really looking forward to wearing this fall. I think it'll be really awesome. So I really do hope I finish it ahead of my trip, because it will probably be very close to being done, and I won't bring it because if it is almost done, it's going to be a bulky project to just kind of carry around. So if I'm at the point where I'm just knitting on the body and I haven't done the sleeves, I may bring it. Anyway, those are all my whips. Oh, I've decorated these are two of my French field bags. I decorate them with patches rather than with pins. This one does have a little pin on there. This is the twig and horn pin because pins fall off. I actually lost a really cool pin just recently. So I took all of the other ones off of except for that one, off of my bags. So my bags, my French field bags all have patches instead of pins. This one's holding a future cast on, which I'll get to at some point soon, before Christmas. Okay, that's my knitting content, aside from a couple things that I'm thinking about doing. For my trip, I have prepped Birds of a Feather. I think this will be a fun project to do on my trip. I will not finish it for sure on the trip because it's only a little less than 2 weeks. But I'll show with you the yarn that I'm planning on knitting. It's going to be this. So this is another Qing Fibre. This is her, I think it's called Ember is the color. Yeah, this is the color Ember. It's kind of like if you're a hedgehog fibrous person, this is sort of like Fool's Gold from Hedgehog. I think this one has a little more variation on the thread. Instead of having like chunks, like such big chunks, I think this has smaller sections of the blue that's running through it. It's really, really pretty. I haven't made anything out of it. I have 2 skeins of it, which is exactly what I need. And in some random mystery bag that I got from Olann out of Ireland, I'll show you that. I got this mystery bag a while back. Haven't bought any yarn in a while. Not as good as Amber from Yarn Hoarder, who hasn't bought any yarn this year at all. I've bought yarn this year for sure, but I haven't bought yarn in a while. But this was from a mystery bag I got, I think, in the springtime from Olann, this brand right here, Olann. And she called this color, I think it's one of a kind. No, it's called Count Me In. It's this color right here. But it actually is so close to the Qing. I think it's going to look beautiful. So that's kind of just a happy thing that happened. And what I realized about this as a shawl or a scarf to wear in the winter, I have a turquoise coat, I have a fuchsia coat, I have a green coat, and I have a navy blue coat. This will go with all of them. So super excited to get this going, get this on the needle, but I'm saving it for my trip, because there will be a lot of I like to knit and relax in the evening, I guess, as we all do. And also there'll be train travel happening on the trip, as well as flying over there and flying back. So I think this will be a really good project for that. It's a lot of garter, and there's a little bit of yarn over lace work, but nothing that's too demanding. So I think it'll be enough of mindless / little bit of interest, and it should be a really perfect travel project, I think. I don't know if I'm going to bring anything other than that. I may bring one other small project. I'll just have to see what I'm working on at that point when it gets closer. Okay. And then other knit-wise, this is my third potential hand-spun project. So this is my most recent spinning project. I spun a sweater's quantity of this beautiful witchy purple black with glitter, bits of glitter in there, bits of fire star and silk, pinks, blues, corals, golds, all in there. It's really pretty. I don't really think the lens is doing justice. There you go. That's probably a good representation of it. So down here by my finger, you can see a bit of the gold, and then you can see the coral across the top and the blue. It's really beautiful. So I still don't know what to make out of it. I'm thinking about a boxy sweater by Joji Locatelli. I'm thinking that it'll be a pullover, but I did knit a swatch just to get an idea of gauge. It is a fingering weight sweater or yarn. I think up here I knit size 4 and down here size 5, or vice versa. I put 4 holes on both, but I think it's 4 and 5. So yeah, size 4, size 5. With the swatch, I just wanted to see how it knit up, and it really reads purple, I think, in the knitted swatch. Though it may have been just the section that I was knitting on. I may end up with more bits of black and stuff, as in a big piece. So I don't know. I'm thinking about what I'm gonna make out of this. I really love it. It's perfect for this time of year because it is so witchy. So I would love to get something on the needles and going. But I fear that this will be something that will be finished more towards Thanksgiving than Halloween. So we'll see. What's the rush? There's always next year. Halloween comes every year. Okay. I'm going to just tell you my current spin project. I am working on a spin out of this fiber, which is from Countess Ablaze. I bought it a while back. In fact, if you go back to my episode, I Have a Red Problem, I talked about this. This was when I spun the first bit of yarn, or the bit of fiber rather. I think I bought 4 bags of 100 grams. Yeah, so I have 400 grams of the fiber from Countess Blaze. It's called a Heart's Beguilement, which I think you can see there, right? There you go. It's 85% Corridel, 15% sea cell, which is a fiber, a plant-based fiber made out of seaweed, which is pretty cool. And yeah, I caked this so I could swatch it because I don't wear red. I'm not into wearing red. But I'm planning to use this. After I saw the way it swatched up, I immediately thought of that layering piece that I'm making out of the Qing Panda multicolored black one, because it reminds me a bit of Long John's, and that with the button placket kind of reminds me of Long John top. So I think it'll work. So after I finished spinning this fiber I forgot to tell you, I probably put it all on screen. Yeah, let's just go with that. I put it all on screen where this was from. Classy Squid, Velaris. Countess Ablaze, A Heart's Beguilement. After I finished this, I went back to working my way through the other 300 grams of the Countess Ablaze fiber, and this is just the tail end of one of the bags. So, and it spins up very fast and very nicely. It will be a 2-ply. It should end up being like a heavy fingering weight / sport weight, which is what that pattern's written for. So, or what I have been writing it for. So I think it'll work quite well, and yeah, that's my plan. It's funny, this skein, I actively color managed it so that I would get sections that were blue and sections that are red. But for this second skein, I'm not doing that. I'm spinning right out of the top. So I'm just, as the colors come out, as I'm doing my forward draft, I am just letting the fiber combine and however, whichever type of colors it wants to. And the reason that I'm going to back up a little bit. I talked about this in my red episode, but the reason that I stopped and swatched before I had done any more, which I understand from Felicity Lowe, who is like a very accomplished spinner, that is what you should do. Just spin a little bit and then cake it and knit a swatch to make sure you're getting what you want. The reason that I swatched it was because I was a little surprised how red heavy it was. I just thought with all that blue, all that beautiful powder blue and all of that limey green in there, that by color managing it, I would end up with a combination of blue and red and not so heavy red. But what happens is that in the cake, though you can see the blue in there, it really kind of reads as gray. Like in the swatch, it just kind of it gets washed out and lost, and you just really end up with a red, like a nice, pretty heathered red. And it's even kind of a pale red. It's not as vivid as it is here in the fiber, of course, which is exactly what should happen, I guess, as you spin two colors that are, across from each other, even in a triangular fashion on the color wheel. It's just what happens. You end up with sort of a blended color where they both get muted. I'm fine with it. I've made peace with it. I'm spinning the rest so that I can knit something out of it. It'll be fun to knit this color in December. I actually think I'll have it on the needles before that, but we'll see. Do you love how I plan out I'm not a planner. Like, I'm sort of someone who kind of goes with the flow, I think, in terms of my knitting. I just kind of gravitate towards the next shiny object in a way. Like, what's the next thing that I really, out of all the yarn that I have, what's the next thing that I really want to make? I do keep a queue of patterns that I like, which was how I managed to, with the Tensho, I believe I'm saying that right. With the Tensho pattern, it's been in my queue, this one. It's been in my queue for a really long time. Sorry, this one. This is the designer, I think, and this is the model. But it was in my queue for a while, and it was just because I liked it. So I do queue things that I like and I think that I might make someday, or I just want to keep track of them. So I want to keep them handy at my fingertips. So when I do, like when I'm looking at yarn and going, what can I make out of this? I can quickly take a look at my queue and see if there's anything in my queue that will work. And in this case, I don't have anything in my queue that I think really works well. I don't want a cardigan out of this. I really want it to be a pullover. I'm just gonna let my mind sort of think about what else that should be. Okay, I think that's it. Of course, comments and questions welcomed below. I don't know if I'm making 100% sense, so do ask. I read every comment. I look at every, and I respond to everything. Okay, couple stackwisitions. I placed an order with the Crimson Rabbit. She's a handmade knit and stitch. I can't really read what that says. I don't know that word. Fripperies? Stitch fripperies? Is that a word? Let me show it to you. Is that what it says? Fripperies? For you and those you love. Okay. Anyway, shop on Etsy, the Crimson Rabbit. It'll be linked in my show notes. Show notes will be here on, I don't have linked notes down here. I just have, you'll have to cut and paste. But on Ravelry, everything's linked if I can link it. If I can link it to a Ravelry shop. Anyway, I placed an order with them because I don't have any cat project bags. And she had some cat project bags. So I bought myself one. So I love kitties. You saw my cat in my last episode. So I just thought this was so adorable. It looks like it's a perfect small project bag. It has one of these holders that you can put, I don't know, scissors on, or like whatever has a cord you can stitch, link through there. I haven't used it yet. I just felt like I had to have it for my collection. And of course, while I was on there, I saw these adorable progress keepers that were kittens in teacups. I just think they're so cute. And I couldn't resist. I would show you the actual object, but it's way across the room. I couldn't resist this whale right here. It's a cat toy filled with catnip. So the funny thing was, when I got the package, I remembered that I bought the project bag, and I remembered that I had the progress keepers, but I totally forgot that I threw this whale in the order too. And as I was opening the bag, I like pulled out the paper and was putting it on the floor, and my cat came over and he was so into it. And he's usually mildly curious when I get a package, but he was really into it. And I was like sort of laughing at him going, maybe the woman who makes these things has a cat. I don't know. Because I was like laughing to myself that I bought all these cat things, and I'm like, she probably has a cat. Maybe he smells another cat in there. And then when I was like unwrapping the whale, and I remembered, like as soon as I saw the tail, I was like, oh yeah, there's a catnip toy in here. That's why he's all over the packaging, because he can smell the catnip. It was really cute, really, really cute. He loves it. He likes to nom on the tail. It's really well made too. I expect it to last a good long while. So definitely recommend if you're in the market for cat stuff. Well, I think she has more than cat stuff. I mean, her other card has and it's Crimson Rabbit, right? So this is a red squirrel. So there must be rabbit stuff there too. I don't recall, but please, check her out. Not please. If you like, check her out. Last, I have had this for a couple weeks, and I keep forgetting to share with you. I bought this book on the Spinner's Book of Yarn Designs. So it's really cool. I worked through it. It's a way to sort of, like, so far I've been making just 2-ply and 4-ply, like simple yarn. I haven't been making any interesting yarns and stuff, but this book is just amazing for its for all the illustrations and pictures and how-tos, and I mean, it's really, really full of pictures and like different ways to spin yarn and how to know that you have what you should have. When if you have this mistake, this is why that happened. It's just really, really awesome. It's been really nice to look at the secret to good joins, folded long draw, like all different ways to spin, to really spin to get the yarn you want. That's the idea of this. So it's a way to spin to get the yarn you want. I was watching Felicity Lowe. I'm just gonna share a couple of little quickie things with you. So I was watching Felicity Lowe. If you're a spinner or even a knitter and you haven't watched Felicity Lowe's Taking Back Friday episodes, they're really, really good. They're informative. She's a very good teacher. She has like a nice teacher voice and she has a very organized way of explaining things. So it's super informative videos. I was watching not her latest one, because I think I've missed the last couple, but it was maybe one from a couple weeks ago, and she was saying that she never gets the yarn she wants when she spins, and I'm like, oh my God, if she never gets the yarn she wants when she spins, and she's been spinning for years, I've only been spinning for a few months, what am I getting? Because I was like, I'm getting the yarn I want. I mean, I'm happy with my swatches. And she said her yarn comes out really dense. I actually think I have the opposite problem. And I think that's why I get so much growth or I have gotten so much growth in the 2 sweaters that I've knit out of my hand spun. Because I think my twist is a bit loose. I suspect. It looks good to me, but I mean, I don't know. Does that look loose? Can you see that? It looks good, right? I mean, this yarn that I made from Classy Squid Fiber, this was from a Rolag. So when you spin from a Rolag, you're getting a woolen spun. You're not getting a worsted spun. So woolen spun is when the fibers go in a multitude of directions. When you spin from roving like this, the fibers are all pretty much all combed in the same direction. So if you're just pulling off the fibers off the top as you're spinning, you're likely getting a worsted. It's mostly worsted anyway. So it's a smoother yarn, which, can you see on this? I think you can see on this, right? So, I mean, that might be a little bit of a loose ply. I mean, it is the end of the yarn. I think the rest of the ply looks pretty good. I don't think it's too loose. It's certainly not too tight or too dense, because she was saying that hers is very dense. So yeah, I know I have a lot more to learn when it comes to spinning. I've just started, and I also know I know I'm a fast learner as well, especially with fiber arts, because I've been doing fiber arts since I was 11. No, probably 6. So it's something that I'm super familiar with, and I went into working with fibers and cloth as a career for quite a while. Never really left it, so just a hobbyist now though. Okay, I think I'm done. I think I've shared everything I could possibly share, and I'm right at an hour, which is beautiful and perfect. So I hope you enjoyed today's episode. If you did, please hit the thumbs up button. It will help me get more visibility and get my channel and my episode in front of other people. I hope you enjoy your day, your weekend, your week, and I will be back here with a new episode in about 2 weeks, talking to you about more knitting and spinning content, and I look forward to sharing with you. Take care. Bye.